Hello, guys. Welcome along to day three. Stayers Hurdle tops the billing in this, but we'll kick things off with the Turners Novices Chase. Now, on paper and from what we've seen this season, it should be Mighty Potters to lose. However, Banbridge comes into this race, I think, with a decent enough squeak. So don't be sleeping on Banbridge here. He was second in behind El Fabiolo at Leopardstown, probably arguably over the inadequate trip, really, but he was very good at Cheltenham at the start of this season. Tom, we'll start with you here. Are you very much with me that, look, Mighty Potter should probably win this, but Banbridge can give him something to think about, probably?
Well, look what happened last year. We all said Galopin Des Champs would win it.
He fell.
Yep, overjumped the last. Anything can happen in jump racing. And that's why I'd say look at the course form. I bet it's not the same course, but Banbridge has won at Cheltenham this season. So he's going to have fond memories of that because he's
Very
been
impressive
twice
too.
to Cheltenham.
Yeah.
And he's won over obstacles and he's won both times.
Jack, I'll pose a question to you. Appreciate it. He was fancied for last year's champion hurdle. We opposed him on this preview last year. He comes into this race again, fancied by a few. He's currently 4-1 at the moment. What would your thoughts be about him?
Just doesn't excite me. Not simple at all. It just doesn't excite me at all. Obviously, a very good winner of the Supreme in 2021, but that's as good as it's got for him. Obviously, had a very muddled, whatever you want to call it, preparation last year for the champion. And yeah, I just can't fancy him. And I'm going to be completely boring, to be honest. I really fancy Mighty Potter.
It's pretty simple, isn't it? Balco Coastal, we mentioned about the Jerry Colomb form line and, of course, Solo form line too. Both sort of pieces of the form there are quite strong, but as good as that performance was in the Scilly Isles, it's going to have to be an extra further bit of improvement from him to really feature here. Stage Star, I'm not too sure if he's in a handicap or anything like that, or is he going to run in this? I think there's whispers that he might be somewhere else.
He is in a handicap, I know that. I'm just having a look now. Actually, on the subject of handicaps, I really hope Balco Coastal does not run in this, and I want him to run in the 2.5 mile, obviously on the same day, but I want him to run in the plate. So I think he has an outstanding chance in the plate, but obviously I'm not the judge.
Exactly. Very good case there made. We mentioned about Stage Star. Yep, so Gerhard won't go for this. So it's pretty much simple for across the board for the panel here. Mighty Potter should win this, but don't go sleeping on Banbridge. You'll give them something to think about.
Agreed.
For sure. Okay, right, we're going to the Potemps final now. What usually is a traditional mindful of a handicap this time around, looks to be a race of which the favourite currently comes in at 3-1 favourite for a Potemps finals. Eye-wateringly short here in shoot first. The winner last time out at Cheltenham in October, he won the qualifier, of course, beat Botox has himself, gave that form a little boost afterwards because he went to Haydock and won the big handicap hurdle on Betfair Chase Day. Jack, I'll continue with you here. Shoot first. Are you for him or against him in this race at this price as well?
Whilst his form is very good, I am actually against him. And I've gone against him with a horse that leading into the Aintree Festival, I think had only run once, but was still favourite for a grade 1, 2.5 mile, I think it was. And that horse is Nicky Henderson's Walking on Air. It's back 13-2 for this.
Yep.
But he was he was very good at Exeter. And as a result, I think he will take all the stopping. Again, it's another race I haven't really took too much of a fancy into, but I do like the chances of Walking on Air.
Okay, Tom, anything you fancy? I will make a case for Hector Javalex, currently 20s, 1 over 3 miles on New Year's Day under Lily Pinching, very impressively. But also, quickly, before we hit your pick, Tom, how has Itchy Feet ended up in a Potemps final? Once a Scilly Isles winner, was looked to be a very up-and-coming novice chaser. I fancied him for the Marsh a couple of years ago when he unseated in that exact same season. It's gone backwards for him. They tried blinkers. They tried 3 miles over fences. He's since left the Brooks family to go to Stuart Brown's ownership. He won a Potemps qualifier at Huntingdon, I think it was, about last month or the month before. He's 25-1 here. It's just really, really unique, I think, isn't it, really?
Well, how was Bear Gills ended up in this race? He's supposed to be eating fences.
Hasn't worked out for him. But sticking with you, Tom, what at this moment in time, what would be taking your pick? Anything at the big price you might think to be creeping under the radar, maybe, or are you towards the top of the market with?
I need another look at it. Unfortunately, I haven't quite made my mind up with this.
No problem at all. Yeah, Bear Gills again, as we spoke about, we was all there at Warwick when he won his bumper, and we all had the same sort of opinion. Like, what the hell was that? Unfortunately, it's not gone to plan over fences, as it hasn't for many horses. You think of McFabulous too, you think of Monmoral, two classy horses who, well, I mean, what's happened to those two just quickly? Two classier horses who, over hurdles, look to have the world at their feet, but they haven't built on it, have they?
Monmoral needs time. Monmoral needs time.
Harry Cobden's line on that preview of the Sun was very interesting, though, when he mentioned about Jerry Colomb, and he said that Monmoral was once very useful, but now isn't in that same sort of stratosphere anymore, as Jack mentioned to me as well. But yeah, this looks a tight little race here. I think on the price, I couldn't rule out Hector Javalex. I was very impressed with how Lily rode him that day on New Year's Day at Cheltenham at a big price here. He's currently 20s as well. He could be an each way bet, but yeah, we'll move into the Ryanair now. So this is more of a talking point here. We'll start, of course, with Shishkin. What Nicky's done with Shishkin deserves so much credit for what he's done here. Similar, I wouldn't say it's similar to Sprinter Sacra because he came back from a heart murmur, but Shishkin's come back from that champion chase debacle. People thought he was finished, whatever. He disappointed in the Tingle Creek too, but he came roaring back to his best at Ascot last time out. Look, the extended trip clearly helped him. He's going to take a lot of stopping here. And Jack, starting with you, is it simply going to be Shishkin's to lose?
Well, I'm glad you asked me.
It's all pre-planned again. Got his tongue out as well. Cheeky.
2 days after the Ascot chase, of course. To be honest with you, I mean, I was roaring him home from home. He was absolutely brilliant. He looked like he relished every single yard of that 2 mile 5. Again, same distance for the Ryanair. Yes, it's a different track to what he's raced on. He has raced on the old course previously. This is the new course, but I don't envisage that being a problem. I'm actually just going to have a little look at some of the other horses because I do think, to be honest with you, it is going to be most likely that Shishkin is going to win it.
Why is Chac and Poursoir in this for? Why is Chac and Poursoir 33 to 1? Why am I reading this for thinking he's going to turn up here? He quite clearly probably won't.
I have no idea why he's in it. I mean, he was behind Blue Lord at Leopardstown. Fakir Dudarese also was behind at Thurles. But that form was walloped by Shishkin in the Ascot chase. Conflated, disappointed at Down Royal behind a certain Envoy Allen in the Ladbrokes Champions chase. But then he rode back to his best in the Savills chase at Leopardstown in December. And whilst he seems to be bang there at the end, after obviously Envoy Allen's thrown a little bit of a stinker in the King George VI chase, I feel like I feel like there's something just stopping me from absolutely going for him. He's got another competitor from the same ownership in Fury Road, who's also made to work hard rather in the event sec chase at Down Royal in November. Janadil has got some fantastic recent form, but I do think overall, I think Shishkin is going to win this. And sorry to steal your thunder, Tom, but I think Envoy Allen gets at minimum a place. This is much more of his trip. He was very good at Down Royal over 3 miles. I'm not sure he would get 3 mile 2 in the Gold Cup, so the Ryanair looks perfect for him. So my forecast is Shishkin to win, Envoy Allen place.
And Tom, we'll bring you into Envoy Allen now. I fancied him for the King George. I spoke to both of you around Christmas. Excuse me. And I thought Envoy Allen had a cracking chance of winning the King George. He was very good at Down Royal when your pictures behind you as well. He bombed quite badly in the King George. For whatever reason, it just didn't materialise for him. Never travelled, never jumped, and was in the end disappointing. You've been very keen on his chances in this, Tom. So the floor's all yours. Just to make the case for Envoy Allen here.
I know his last run wasn't great, but there was an excuse, his breathing. But I would follow this horse off a cliff. I absolutely love this horse. He's got this willing attitude that even though he knows he's good as well, he still knows that he's willing to win. Look how well he fought at Down Royal. He would not give up. He was going up against a 3 miler in Kenboy. And I know you, as a photographer, were meant to remain impartial, but I kind of was screaming him along. I was like, go on, Envoy, come on. I was like,
you think that was You think that was bad? I'm supposed again, like you say, Tom, to be impartial. I see Envoy Allen on the big screen going ahead of Kenboy. I'm running up the downhill finish, and there's probably people from Northern Ireland going, "Jesus, what is that Egypt doing?" I mean, what is he doing running up the track? But yeah, we all have our favourites.
I mean, that photo behind is my favourite of the day. If I just lower my head, you've also got Conflated in there as well, who runs in the Gold Cup. But this lad, around this trip, is his optimum. I would back him for the Gold Cup, actually, if I was given the chance. It's just I'm slightly annoyed on that one because, Jack knows. If Envoy Allen had been just slightly to his right, I'd have got him in full flight over that fence. And as a photographer, that's the dream. But still, got lovely photos to finish the race with. And celebrations after. Really happy he came back to form. And from someone who backed him last year in the 2-mile champion chase, I thought he'd pick up the pieces if everyone else started dropping away. And fair play, he gave us all that day, but he shows that he needs a trip. 2-5 round Cheltenham might be his optimum. He's won a Ballymore. But if this lad had gone to the Gold Cup, I'd have been backing him off a cliff as well. In fact, I'd have gone to the top of Cleve Hill, backed him all the way there. And I'd be snowballed rolling down that hill after him.
Perfect. Excuse me. Okay, just quickly, Blue Lord, any sort of quick claims of him? Yes or no?
Yes, you know what? I can see him running a very big race. Like I briefly mentioned, obviously, he beat Chacon Poursois. Whether he goes for this, is he entered in the champion chase still, or?
I don't think he was. I don't know. I think he was, but I'm not too sure what the plan is.
I'm going to have to check that myself because, hang on, I'm just on this. He is still in it.
Fair enough.
He is still in.
Where would you go, Jack? If you was connections of Blue Lord, where would you go? This or Champion Chase?
I mean, Munir and Swade and the trainer probably know much more than me, but it doesn't help the fact that let's have a look. So he's ran at 2.5 miles. He was second to Bob Ollinger. And then he's won at 2.5 miles, soft heavy. So he's obviously got the stamina. I think on reflection, I probably would put him in the champion chase simply because Cheltenham is obviously hilly. The likes of Clonmel are not as, obviously they may have a downhill and uphill stretch. They're nowhere near as much as obviously Cheltenham. But I'd say he is not without a chance, 100%. Again, fantastic for connections. This looks a real cracker of a race. I will say that it's definitely one that you want to be looking at. But I'm just going to say one thing quickly. This was also, if anyone remembers, in 2021, there was a certain pundit at ITV Racing who had a treble on this day.
I know what's coming here, guys.
And I just wonder if a certain Kevin Blake will be going, Jesus, I really hope I have a much better chance of winning a treble like on that day instead of last year. I got absolutely blooming nothing. And, I really, I love Kevin Blake, but it was so sad to see him last year. Hardly did anything. And then, 2 years ago, when Mrs. Mill, Mount Ida, Mount Flipping Ida, coming up that hill at the end, like she just jumped into the race, and we were all turning to Kevin going, fair play. You knocked that one at the ballpark. But I always think about Thursday now for that moment when he was pretty much out of his chair going, get in, you good thing.
Perfect. Excuse me. That brings us now, after a wonderful Kevin Blake impression, into the Stayers Hurdle. Now, we thought last year's was a bit of a mind boggle. This year's has proved to be a bigger mind boggle, in my opinion. We'll start with Blazing Cow here. Many people's prediction of winning this quite comfortably, really. He's a unique horse. There was one point this horse was rumoured to be dead, wasn't there, at one point? There was a rumour that he wasn't still, that he was dead, which was rather crazy, in my opinion. There was also talk that he would not make the festival, but he's worked well since, I do believe, and Charles Burns has said that he's on course for this. He won well last time out at Navan. He's currently 3-1 favourite for this. Tom, we'll start with you. Are you in the Blazing Cow camp, yes or no?
Well, you would think that Blazing Carl had a great chance given what he's done. But you'd also be quite concerned as to the regular injury messages you keep getting. You know
Exactly.
them annoying notifications you get on your phone asking you to update your iPhone password. It's like, enter the password for this. It seems like as though this is every day you're getting one of those from the yard saying, oh, he's had an injury, he's had a slight setback, oh, he's had this thing, and oh, no. But he came out and did what he did first time out. If he runs as well as he's done at Cheltenham before, he's got a chance. But you cannot deny that there is a horse in the field who's going places as the trip goes further. Tiapu, who I actually had for the champion hurdle last year.
Soft ground will probably come up too, which is exactly what he wants. So that's well worth noting for people watching this. The ground's currently soft. It should stay soft all week. By Stayers Hurdle Day should be prime for him.
And you also would think that you wouldn't rule out Flooring Porter as well for the
Well,
Flooring Porter.
he's not been mentioned much, has he, really? Last year's champion. Been superb at Cheltenham the last couple of years, of course. Yep, correctly by me there. I was going to mention that as well. But yeah, he's not had much for mention recently on many previews at all. And let's not forget, go back to his two previous performances here. They were fantastic.
Yeah, they were great. But again, it seems in this industry or this but once a horse loses a race or stops winning, then they just get ignored.
Jack,
I can
I'll
just
bring
see
you
him
into
winning
this.
a absolute cracker.
Jack, I'll throw the question to you now. Home by the Lee's been tipped on many previews. You'd think he should be favourite for this, judging by the amount of people talking about him. He's won his last two, chasing a three-timer here, was down the field in this race last year. Personally, I can't make a big case for him. But what did you make of him? And we'll touch upon the likes of Paisley Park just afterwards. But Jack, Home by the Lee, what are your thoughts on him?
That run last season that throws it into doubt for me. I mean,
Hmm.
he's very good this season. He's won twice.
Yeah.
Won the Christmas hurdle, won the what race was it? It was Fairyhouse, was it? Home by the Lee.
He was
I'm
one
not-
last two at Navron
no,
and Leopardstown.
That's the one. So he wins those races.
The Lismullen Hurdle, he won grade 2 at Navron.
Lismullen, that's it. Because I got that confused with the obviously the race at Fairyhouse, the Hatton's Grace, but that was the Hoopu.
Yeah.
So he wins those two nicely, but you can't deny that in these sorts of races, you are looking for a horse that can handle the track.
Of course.
Which obviously puts, let's be honest, one horse in this race that I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, oh, Jesus, Asterion Phalange. I mean, why is he in here, first of all? So he's out. Beacon Edge goes to a different race. Blazing Carl, like you just mentioned, I couldn't back him simply because, apart from the fact that there are very worrying signs that he may have died previously. So,
you can't believe that. I got rumoured as well. It's crazy.
The other thing that concerns me is he won on his reappearance. Fantastic. Absolutely monumentally fantastic training performance to do that. My issue is the trainer has come out this week and said he wasn't very good on a piece of work on the Monday, and we decided against sending him to the Curragh again to do some more work. That doesn't instill confidence in me if I was backing somebody, a horse rather, that didn't excel in a piece of work. Although, having said that, Votor wasn't pulling up trees before he won the Ryanair. So there could be a case for that. Looking at a few other things, I mean, Dashel Drasher, absolutely, Jeremy Scott, stable start, but looks out of his depth here. Flooring Porter. If Flooring Porter wins a third Stayers Hurdle, it won't be the connections going crazy. There'll be a certain Sam Martin of Rein It In Racing. She'll be going ballistic. She loves this horse. So if he wins, she'll be the go-to person. We now cut live to Sam's front room. Gold Tweet, very good in the cleave, although I would have to see more. Although, France has a habit of bringing over really good hurdlers and absolutely knocking the socks off anything that we've got. So wouldn't be a surprise. We've also got Henri Lefarceur. I think I've butchered the pronunciation. Sorry if you are French. They look out of their depth completely. Home by the Lead, we've already mentioned. Classical Dream, very good on his day, like you said previously, Luca. Will it be his day? If he steals another 4 or 5 lengths at the start, probably.
let's not forget, he came in last year, and last year's Stayers Hurdle, absolutely cruising, and we all thought, hang on a minute, he's going to go on and win this, but just didn't pick up. We mentioned Gold Sweep. We all wrote him off in the Cleve, turned up and absolutely threw the gauntlet down, really. Paisley Park, at the start of the season, people talking about him winning this. I could never have really warmed to it. His run last time solidified that to me. Look, he's 11 years old now. I can't see him winning it. I could see him running a decent race for a long way, but you mentioned about Bashal Drasher. He's not ran too badly in his last couple of starts here at all. He
No.
got beat 3 lengths by Gold Tweak last time. It was a very gallant effort too. Look, he's not going to get the soft lead he probably wants, but at a huge price, you couldn't really knock him for at least running a big race here, I don't think.
He'll take them along. I mean, you know,
Exactly.
he does. He will take them along. Do you know what? He was actually quite impressive in the many clouds.
He
I
was.
did not expect him to do what he did, and he exceeded my expectation. I'll be honest with you though. I've had a look at this, and before the rain came, I was very sweet on Marie's Rock.
Yes, the rail kill as
Now,
well.
like you said to me, after that race, the way she's finished after the Relkeel on her seasonal reappearance just screams to me Stayers.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can see in that, the problem is obviously the rain that's forecast. Would it be a problem? I mean, not for me. I would still go to the Stayers with her, simply because I just feel that she gets £7 from the boys, but I just feel like she's definitely worth a chance. And originally, I put down Marie's Rock for this. If it gets to the day and she's not declared, I think I'd possibly be siding with the likes of Classical Dream, because we know he will like soft ground.
And also, if he gets a nice little, if he can tuck in nicely behind, there's going to be good pace on early. Not a ridiculous pace, of course, but he'll get the toe into the race like he did last year. The only question I'd have is how much will he find for pressure? Look, it's a mind-boggling race here. To be honest,
I mean, if we're talking absolute ratings, Tia Hoopu is first, Flooring Porter is second, and joint second is Classical Dream. So on ratings, those are the three to take. I'm not a massive Tia Hoopu fan, but you cannot be anything other than impressed about what he's done this season. And I'm fairly certain he's won at 3 miles before.
yeah, I think he has, yeah.
Just checking now. No, he hasn't.
Really?
Sorry. Tell a lie. I was looking previous to what he has done. His most recent run was the Galmoy Hurdle, which he won over 3 miles, soft heavy. So maybe there is a chance that he could be the one to take out of that race.
Okay, so you're going with, in the Stayers Hurdle, Classical Dream, but predominantly going to go with him. Is that what you're sort of sticking with at the moment?
I think at the moment, but again, I probably have to have another look at it, because the whole thing for me revolves around Marie's Rock.
Same with me.
If she's declared for this, I think she takes all the beating. If she isn't, I'll need another good look at it.
And Tom, you're very much in which sort of camp are you in at the moment before we move into the plate?
Either Tia Poo or Flooring Porter, but I will need another look at it.
Perfect. Okay, that brings us nicely into the plate now. An interesting race this. The soft ground should come up for this. So Scottish leads the way at the market currently 7-2 for JP and Emmett Mullins. Il Ridoto, second favourite at 8-1. If the rain comes, I like Fugitive in this race for Carl Hinchy and Richard Hobson. He ran a great race in behind Il Ridoto last time. I think the pair pulled about 15 lengths clear of the third, which just goes to show you how ahead of the handicapper they were at the time. And the rain should come. Sean Bowen's booked to ride. My voice is going. So, Jack, I'll pass it over to you. Take it away.
Just going to... Sorry to interrupt. Jack, you're not going to like this. He's not in it.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I was just looking for him exactly. I quite fancied a horse by the name of Balco Coastal for this.
Not there. Look at the name. No, he's not. Yep, he's not the scam.
And he's not there.
He's going to the Turners.
So that is an absolute... First of all, it's an absolutely disgraceful decision, because I think he would have done very well. But I'm going to be quite brief on this, to be honest. For me, I mean, again, I wrote this before the 6-day stage. So have we got 2 for gold in this? Is he still in?
Yep.
Yeah, I just
Yes.
scroll past him. Yep, he's 40s.
Okay. He's a couple of pounds too high for me anyway. I mean, you've got the likes of Stage Star, Midnight River. I think I put in my preview, he may want it a little softer. I think if it does come up soft, he's a cracking chance. I Am Maximus, he's entered in a blooming list of
Yeah,
races for the
he's
Scott.
got
I
a
think he's
ton
got
of
about
entries.
4 or 5 entries.
Yeah, he's got a lot of
Um,
entries.
you mentioned Fugitive again, I think because the ground's coming for him now. I think he warrants respect, but I actually think the form of That's All Right Gino is working well against the likes of Solo, Stage Star. So he could be slightly under the radar, and I think he's about 12-1. That's all right,
Yeah,
Gino.
you've got 14s here. I'm looking at 14s, slightly bigger, which is always a good thing for people who want to back him. I couldn't put you off him. I was at Kempton for the Pendle, and at one point, jumping the second last, I thought he was going to come and take Solo. So
Exactly.
very
I
good.
think he's very good. I mean, he was only 3 3/4 lengths behind Stage Star at Cheltenham. Now, that particular race, the time for novices handicap chase, as we know from previous races, that tends to throw up a very, very good horse. I mean, I'm looking at the form now of That's All Right Gino on his chasing debut, was it? I think it was. Yes, it was. October, Newton Abbott, he's 3/4 a length behind Boot Hill. He then beats Calico by 7 lengths. We all know what Calico's done.
Yeah.
Frere Darms, again, Frere Darms, I probably butchered the pronunciation of that, but he was third to him. Was fourth behind Hadex Deobo, but he'd had a few hard races. But then he comes out in a class 2, the time form novices, 3 3/4 lengths behind Stage Star. That race tends to throw up a winner at the Cheltenham Festival. And then obviously he was 2 lengths behind Solo in the Pendle. So for me, I think he's demonstrated that he's probably not quite ready for a proper test like an all and out grade 1. But, 11 stone 2, I think he's very fairly handicapped.
Okay, and Tom, we'll pass over to you quickly because time is against us for this. I'll give a quick mention to Call Cody. I spoke to Adam a couple of weeks ago at Kempton. Hopefully he runs a great race, be a superb performance again for a 12-year-old. Got the likes of Seddon in this, who's got multiple entries. Warlord, I thought had a good chance. I fancied him for the Arkle last year at a big price too. But just quickly, Tom, what do you fancy in this before we move on to the Mares Novices and also the Kimure?
I need another look.
Okay, no problem.
They all just gone anyway.
Okay, Mares Novices. I'm not much of an opinion on this. Lucia's been very impressive in all of her starts. She should probably take a lot of beating in this, as the market suggests, at 13-8. Anything there, guys? You want to add to that?
I would say look out for Princess Zoe. You never know.
That would be terrific, wouldn't it? Should be the first horse, I think, ever to win at the Arc meeting and Cheltenham Festival. She's been a superb star for Tony Mullins and connections.
Absolutely. I would just add, just briefly, before we move on to the final race, I actually think if Hermes Allen wins in the Ballymore, I think the price of You Wear It Well will collapse.
Yes.
She was second to him that day. Her form is absolutely pretty much, I wouldn't say it's like rock solid form, but it's pretty much there. I mean, like I made a little note of this again because I just felt like I had to talk about this. So Lucia's win, though, and again, if she needed any discussing, I mean, she's been outstanding this season, but the race she won in November at Newbury. Now, listen to how this form's worked out. She won the 2-mile listed novices hurdle by 5.5 lengths from She's a Saint in the race which the 6th won next time out. The 5th had previously racked up 3 wins on the bounce. The 4th had beat the 2nd horse last time out. The 3rd was second to She's a Saint next time out before winning at Carlisle in February. And She's a Saint was second in a listed mares novice hurdle at Doncaster a couple of weeks ago. I mean, if that isn't form for Lucia, come on. And then obviously You Wear It Well, second in the Challow. I think the form is absolutely bang, rock solid. With, for myself, You Wear It Well being, I think she's each way.
Yep.
So she would be my each way pick that, but I think it is Luchas to lose.
Just quickly, a big price in this race. I thought Mullenbeg 25's good each way bet there. She won a bumper last year very comfortably here. Went into the wilderness at the start of the seasons, found her way back since. I was at Kempton again in that same meeting. She come second in last time. When she came second, I was stood next to Milton Harris. Or no, I tell a lie. I was stood watching the race, and from behind, I heard this almighty roar scream, "Come on, Mullenbeg." It was Milton Harris. He was swearing as well, which is quite funny. Yeah, she must have a good chance each way, I think. 25-1. Couldn't look too far away from her. Just quickly, we've got currently just over 6 minutes to do this one. The Kim Muir, Mr. Incredible's currently favourite. Is he still in the Grand National at the moment, or has he been taken out? Because there was whispers that he might have a good chance should he get there.
Sure.
He's actually in the Grand National. He's in the Midlands National. He's in the Irish National, and he's in this one at Cheltenham, Mr. Incredible. So
Just
he's
quickly
got
with
a lot
him,
going for him.
we'll talk about him very briefly. A Night of Lambourne, I felt a good chance at a big price. 1 year before, Jack Andrews won him before, 11-1. I think it's a good bit of value. I think Ben Paulding quickly has got a nice team of horses going to Cheltenham this year. I hope he can at least get one winner because he's had a good year, and you never know.
I will say this: I need another look at it. But I've just noticed as well. Next Destination's changed stables
Yeah,
again.
Yep.
about 3 times now, isn't it?
It went from Mullins to Nichols, and has then gone from Nichols
To Henderson.
to Henderson.
Interesting.
Yep, absolutely has.
I mean, Denmark's been thinking there.
Yep, absolutely. What are your thoughts on the Kim Muir, Luca?
I liked the slightly bigger price of 11s, a Night in Lambourne. Jack Andrews won him at the start of the season in an amateurs race. I think Ben's got a nice Cheltenham team. A Night in Lambourne, I do believe, ran well in this race. Was it last year in the pouring rain? He ran a big race in it. I could be wrong, but the name and the race sort of rings a bell with him. I think he ran a very big race here last year. I could be wrong, but I think
he didn't.
He didn't.
He didn't run here. He actually ran. It would have been the same week, but he ran at Huntingdon.
Okay, I'm thinking
so
the October meeting. That was it when he got beat by Jimmy the Digger. That was the race when Gina
That's
Andrews
the
just got
one.
mugged on the line by him. I was thinking that was clearly the race there. Yeah, I think he's got a good chance at a big price. He's very effective around Cheltenham. Jack gets a good partnership with him, and yeah, he's 11-1 at the moment. You need in this sort of race, you need to be backing a decent amateur. Look, I'll give a mention again to Rapper too, who stays very well. Didn't run much for a race at Sandown last time. Alice Stevens has been doing very well both under rules and in the pointing sphere too. But yeah, they're my two. I'd probably be with at the prices against Mr. Incredible.
Okay. I am going to throw in one horse who was won at Cheltenham in the last year. They've won at, so I'm just going to say the distance, 3 mile, 1 furlong, admittedly good ground, and then went back to Cheltenham. 3 mile 2 actually they won at on good ground. Went back to Cheltenham. Were third to a certain nobody's mentioned really, Lord Accord at Cheltenham. Lord Accord wins the ultimate. I will be looking very much at this horse. They've been very consistent, and I'm praying this happens one day very soon. But Fergal O'Brien wins a Cheltenham Festival race, and I think Captain Catastock, if they stick a very good amateur on Captain Catastock at 33-1, I think he outruns his odds completely.
And it's also, in my opinion, inevitable that Fergal will train a Cheltenham winner. I think that will happen eventually because
it's completely inevitable. I mean, I probably lost my voice last year in the Pertemps screaming Ala Filippo, but I really thought he was going to do it. God knows how Fergal and the team would have been. They're absolutely, by the way, if anyone's not been to Fergal's yard, honest to God, they're an absolutely fantastic bunch. In fact, the O'Brien McPherson team are absolutely fantastic, every single one of them. So if you ever get the chance, go. But yeah, he's my pick.
Perfect. Okay, wonderful. So that will bring us to the end of day 3. We'll be back for day 4, looking ahead to the Triumph, the Gold Cup, and also Jack and Tom. I've got them on the podcast. They're very, very good experts at the Fox Hunters too. So hopefully they can unravel that for us and give us a couple of pointers maybe. Stay tuned for that. We'll be back very shortly.